Hi there everyone, I'm Mr. Movie Lover back with my roundup of the first four Marvel TV shows on Disney+. Plus there's been a few movies this year. It's been interesting. Was there any Marvel content last year? What? Okay, so according to my research, there was a Hulu series released in 2020 called Hellstrom that I missed. That might technically be part of the MCU. I will definitely need to come back to this in another video after I watch the whole series. Goodbye, sleep. Who needs you? Oh, me, I guess. Wait, what were they talking about? Right. Well, I thought 2020 was a pretty void year for MCU content, other than that Hellstrom show, maybe? But we can, what? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Dang it! I forgot they had a whole new season last year, too. I also haven't watched that yet. So, since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may or may not have been a good season, how could anyone know? And they technically really aren't a part of the same universe that our prime MCU characters live in currently. I think 2020 was pretty void of MCU content, or any content, as I still think Sonic could have been Oscar worthy last year. So all that is a build up to talk about what a great year it's been so far for Marvel content. We've had 2 movies and 4 TV shows, and we've hardly had to wait for new content all year. Only a few weeks of break between everything. Wandavision kicked it all off, and I loved just about everything about that show. I liked how Wanda went all cuckoo and showed how crazy powerful she was. I liked how the format seemed strange at first, and then it eased back into a semi-normal TV show format. I liked how one of my favorite and most underrated characters, Darcy, returned, as well as FBI agent Jimmy Woo, who was great as well. I liked how Vision was able to come back in a few variations after being prematurely slain in Infinity Wars. I loved Catherine Hah's performance as Agatha Harkness. It's been Agatha all along. And I liked how Mephisto was secretly in the shadows the whole time. Maybe? Probably not. Also, Ralph Bohner. This show set up Monica Rambeau with the wicked powers for a future possible Captain Marvel project, White Vision as Who Knows, and Wanda as possible villains for Doctor Strange in his next movie. And it set up the undertones that Wanda didn't, in fact, get her power from the Mind Stone, but it just enhanced what was already there. And then it was over. A few weeks later, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was released, and we got to see what drove Sam and Buggy. This seemed like my least favorite of the MCU shows so far. I like the characters, even though those two are probably my least favorite of the Avengers. They just seem kind of boring to me. Maybe it's because of the lack of proton blasts. I don't know. We got to see how the blip affected the world for the years to come, and the implications that came. We saw Shannon Carter return, again another fairly boring character. I guess the show is trying to express how one man's villain is another man's girl who is a super soldier trying to help people but eventually turning into a killer, but then realizing her mistakes and getting murdered before she fixes them. We get it. With 6 episodes, it was the fewest episodes of the MCU shows, and it kind of showed. Wyatt Russell had an equally flippy-floppy character arc in this whole show, to possibly even more extreme ends. I enjoyed it, and it was different from the rest for its gritty realism, such as it could be. Then, we had a little over a month to let that sink in before Loki came out, and we got to see Loki the good guy. When Loki died at the beginning of Infinity Wars, I was like, dang, I wonder how he'll come back again. And then he grabbed the Tesseract at Endgame, I was like, aha! But I never had any idea we'd get the crazy wackadoo show that we did. Loki had an amazing soundtrack. It had Owen Wilson, who really brought a certain level of credibility to the show. Owen is such a wonderful, well-rounded actor that's so amazing that people should really be naming their children after him. But enough about Mr. Jetski. Tom Hiddleston did a great job as well, taking this Loki, who was essentially the same Loki that was just defeated in the Avengers in 2012 and didn't gain any of the development from Thor 2 or 3, and tried to turn Loki into a good guy in just a few episodes. Sophia DiMartino also was probably the breakout star as Sylvie, or Lady Loki, when she started a rebellion against the Time Variance Authority and killed He Who Remains, releasing Kang from multiple multiverses and causing much of what will be happening in Phase 4. Then we had Black Widow, the first MCU movie to come out in over a year and Scarlett Johansson's only solo film. It had its moments, to be sure. David Harbour was amazing, but it was just kind of disappointing that we only got a Black Widow movie now after she was dead, and a certain Disney executive wasn't standing in the way anymore. So Black Widow was fun with some decent action and pretty good humor, but I think it had the same thing going against it that many other movies did: the constant release pushbacks. They changed the date so many times, waiting on theaters to open up, and eventually releasing it both in theaters and on Disney Plus for a price that a decent amount of people had lost interest. Next, we had Shang Chi, a movie that I have yet to review. I know, I'll get there. Short story is it was amazing. And I was super excited when Samu Liu was cast as Shang Chi. I'm a huge fan of Kim's Convenience. The rest of the cast was equally great, and they acknowledged the fact that Iron Man 3 was totally screwed up the Mandarin, and even brought back Ben Kingsley. They finally brought dragons into the MCU, something that Iron Fist constantly promised but failed at. And Awkwafina was a great sidekick. They should make a movie with quirky sidekicks that have to band together sometime. Have Darcy, Jimmy, Katie, Bucky. Bucky would hate it. And I'm already loving this idea. Wong could lead them. Maybe Shuri can be in there too if she's not the new Black Panther, or if Letitia Wright doesn't get canceled by then. Happy could even be there and go bam a lot. Bam bam. And that segued perfectly into our most recent entry of the 2020 MCU Marvel What If. These have been interesting little stories that were semi-self-contained until they weren't. I like these episodes, and I hope they have implications in the live-action MCU content. We already know that Disney is not opposed to blending back and forth between live-action and animated content. Also, we got the final performances of Chadwick Boseman as he recorded the voice parts for T'Challa before he passed. What a year it's been for Marvel content, and we still have Eternals in a few weeks, and Hawkeye and Spider-Man as well. 2021 really is the year of Marvel, especially since 2020 was not. No, I'm pretty sure those didn't count. Whatever. Anyways, I'm Mr. Movie Lover, and I'm looking forward to making some more movie reviews real soon. See ya. Bye-bye.